Salutations and hello! Welcome to another Dreadlocks questions and answers video where I answer questions that have been left by you guys. Each week I answer 5 questions, 4 from previous Q&A videos and 1 from the Facebook group. First question this week is from Sean Fordthe. Question: I live in Florida, brackets, the States, and I know that swimming in the ocean is great for helping lock up dreads as it rinses oils out and such. I have yet to do this since my dreads are only a month old and not quite ready for that much water, but my question is, after you get out of the ocean, how long should you let the salt water stay in your locks before washing them out, seeing as ocean water is dirty with fish pee and other randomness? At what point is the salt water no longer doing its job and just being fishy? Okay, swimming in the ocean is pretty awesome for dreads. I wouldn't hesitate to get 1 month old dreads into the ocean. I mean, they're gonna get messy, but they're gonna get messy when you just wash them at home anyway, so. But I don't know how much swimming you're gonna do in January in Florida. I don't know how warm it is in January in Florida. But myself personally, when I've been swimming in the ocean, I swim in the ocean because I enjoy swimming in the ocean. I don't specifically go and do it because I'm thinking about the benefits I get with my dreadlocks. It's just kind of a nice bonus. So whenever I'm in the ocean, I do whatever I'm there to do in the ocean, you know, swimming and such. And then when I get out, I kind of want to wash my hair straight away because, I don't know, it's kind of not the most pleasant thing to sit with hair full of seawater. Plus there's the fact that I kind of get annoyed that if I sit out long enough for it to dry, then I feel like, oh, I could have washed my hair and I could have dried my washed hair, because, you know, it's not so fun to have to dry your hair twice in a day. So in my experience, I don't put any extra effort into leaving the water in with the salt for any longer than is necessary. So basically I keep the seawater in for as long as it takes for me to get from the ocean to the shower. Knotty Knative. Question: I have recently started my dreads using the interlocking method. I tried twice before with the backcombing method and wasn't happy with the looseness. Now they are firmly together, but was wondering if it's okay not to go back for another interlocking session to upkeep and just let them grow out naturally from now on. I have heard horror stories about dreads falling off due to this, etc. Interlocking is a kind of controversial method for starting dreadlocks in that people that do it enjoy having the effects of interlocked dreads, but there are, you know, negative side effects to it, so a lot of people, you know, try and steer clear of it. When you interlock dreads, it's passing the dreadlock back through the root, and when you do that, it splits the root in half and then twists the two halves, and then all that twisting and pulling and pushing through can break some hairs, and so a few interlocking sessions you really don't notice anything. But since dreadlocks are kind of a long-term deal, after having dreadlocks for months and months and years, all those broken hairs kind of build up and build up. You're slowly going to find that the roots can be getting thinner and thinner and thinner over time, but it's a slow process, but it is a damaging process, and because the dreadlocks are getting longer and heavier and the roots are getting thinner, that can eventually lead to dreads falling out. But it's worst case scenario there. The thing with interlocking is you kind of have to keep it up in order for it to work, because when you pass the dreadlock through and do get it split and twisted into 2 little twists there, those twists are kind of too twisted to then knot into each other by themselves. They're kind of twisted lumps and they're too tightly held to knot by themselves. So what you'll find is if you don't re-interlock the dreads, it will grow out as 2 dreads, and then normally what people do is then re-interlock at 90 degrees to get back through there and knot it up again, and that's really a very rough guide to what interlocking is. You can leave interlocking dreads interlocked dreads long enough for them to start knotting naturally, but it does take a while because you have to wait for that dreadlock to grow out long enough for those twists to not be as too twisted. So as it grows out, it's not getting retwisted and the dreads are getting longer there, so it slowly becomes less and less twisted, and eventually it will start to knot by itself without the need to re-interlock. But this can take a while, so you can end up with dreads that are kind of either split in 2 or kind of loose for a fair length. How long I cannot exactly say, but they do look very much like they're starting to grow out, and then that normally leads people to then, you know, just say, oh, I'm going to re-interlock it, this looks bad. But yeah, you can get back from interlocking to a more natural dread that locks by itself if you leave it for long enough. Everything Dragonfly. Question: do you ever have dreams that someone takes your dreads out? Weird, I know, but I have them all the time. Lol. Just curious. I don't very often get to say lol out loud. I don't think people do that. I think I've been asked this before, or maybe I've just been asked whether I have dreams about dreadlocks. I'm sure I can kind of remember having dreams about cutting my dreadlocks off. I think normally when I'm not in a particularly good mood with them, when they're annoying me and such, but it's not something that happens very often, so not often enough for me to really recall. I mean, I've had my dreadlocks for so long now that it doesn't really seem like it's an addition to me. It just seems like they're part of... No, it seems a bit cheesy to say, oh, they're part of me, but you know, it's just kind of something that's always there. I can imagine maybe when they were younger and they'd only just been added, or maybe when they're only a few years old and I'm still stressed with them. I'd been anticipating having them for so long and now they were finally here and I was happy that I had them, and then I can kind of think that maybe I had nightmares that I'd lose them, but nowadays I don't really have dreams that involve dreadlocks. Connie N. Question: when it's time to split the dreads so they don't grow together, the roots end up looking quite crazy and all over the place. Is there any maintenance you would recommend to stay on top of that mess? Yeah, so what happens there when you separate the dreadlocks is there's hairs that were connecting the two dreads, so like obviously this would now be impossible to split, but if I was to split here, then you'd get two lumps of locked hair and then there'd be fuzziness where the two dreads were locked together, and that can look kind of messy and, you know, not so nice. I can't think of anything specific that I would do to get rid of that frizziness, because the frizziness, the hairs are kind of short, so there's not really a whole lot you can do unless you're using a crochet hook on the inside to pull those in, but as I'm not a crochet hooking person, it's not something that I would consider doing or do. If you'd got loose hairs that were a little bit longer, or you know, long enough to actually lock, then maybe saltwater spray, or since it's near the root, maybe wool would be better. I don't really recommend using saltwater spray really close to the root because it's not nice to have salt left on your scalp. And the most popular question from the Facebook group this week is from Madison Groves, and she asks simply, you single? For a short question, I have a short answer. No, I'm not single. The camera is being controlled by my girlfriend, my person who is making me not single. Those are my questions for this week. If you would like to post a question for the Dreadlocks Q&A, there are two ways to do it. You can either post it in the comments section to the latest Dreadlocks Q&A video. Please write question at the start of your comment so that I know that you would like me to answer it in the video and not just write a comment reply. All those questions go into a list and eventually get answered, but there is a queue for that. If you would like to try your luck at getting your question answered straight away, then you will have to join the Facebook group, whereby each week I post up a status asking for questions, and then you guys have the opportunity to post questions, and then whichever question in that status gets the most thumbs up, I will answer that question in the Q&A that week. As always, you can find all my stuff on lazydreads.com. You can tweet me at twitter.com/lazy_dreads, and you know, the Facebook group previously mentioned where things happen is www.facebook.com/lazydreads. I'd like to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you again soon. Farewell.